Welcome back to the Cool English Podcast, where we help you speak English with confidence and clarity. In today's episode, we're focusing on job interview English. Specifically, how to answer one of the most common and important questions.
Can you tell me about yourself?
This question usually comes at the beginning of the interview, and how you answer can set the tone for the rest of the conversation. Let's listen to a sample answer. Then we'll break it down and explain how you can use it in your own interview.
Can you tell me about yourself?
Sure, my name is Maria, and I have over 5 years of experience working in digital marketing. I began my career as a content writer, but over time, I started working more closely with SEO and social media strategy. In my most recent role at BrightTech, I led a small team that helped increase website traffic by 60% in just 6 months. Through a targeted content campaign, I'm passionate about using data to understand audience behavior and create campaigns that really connect. Right now, I'm looking for a new opportunity where I can continue to grow and help a company build a stronger online presence. Explanation. Now let's take a look at why this answer worked so well. First, she starts with a quick summary of her experience. She doesn't tell her life story, just the key points related to her career. Then she shares a bit about her career growth, from content writing to SEO and strategy, showing she's progressed and developed new skills. Next, she mentions a specific achievement, increasing website traffic by 60%. That's a measurable result, which interviewers love to hear. She also shares what she's passionate about, using data to connect with audiences. This tells the interviewer more about her working style and motivation. Finally, she ends by saying she's ready for a new opportunity and shows interest in growing further, a great way to show ambition and enthusiasm for the role. Key phrases to remember. I have over 5 years of experience in... I started my career as... In my most recent role, I'm passionate about... I'm now looking for an opportunity where I can... Wrap up. So, when you hear the question, can you tell me about yourself? Think of it as your chance to tell your professional story. Where you've been, what you've achieved, and where you're going. Practice your own version of this answer, and speak it out loud until it feels natural. Don't memorize it word for word. Make it personal and professional. Great! Let's continue to the next interview question. What are your strengths? This is your chance to highlight what makes you a great fit for the role. But be careful. You don't want to just list random adjectives. Instead, give examples that show your strengths in action. Let's listen to a sample answer.
What would you say are your biggest strengths?
One of my biggest strengths is problem solving. I enjoy analyzing situations and finding practical solutions. For example, in my previous role, our team was struggling to meet deadlines because of poor communication. I suggested using a project management tool, and I helped train the team on how to use it. As a result, we cut down our delivery delays by almost 40%. Another strength is adaptability. I'm comfortable learning new systems quickly. When we switched to a new CRM platform last year, I took the lead in learning it and became the go-to person for the rest of the team.
Explanation. Let's break this down. The candidate doesn't just say, I'm good at problem solving. She gives a specific example. How she identified a communication problem, proposed a solution, and saw real results. That shows real value. She then mentions adaptability, another great strength, and again supports it with a clear example. Learning a new system and helping others use it. This shows leadership and initiative. Key phrases you can use. One of my biggest strengths is, for example, in my previous role, as a result, we were able to. Another strength is, I became the go-to person for. Wrap up. When answering this question, remember, don't just tell them what your strengths are. Show them. Use real-life stories and results to back up what you say. Keep it relevant to the job you're applying for. Next, we'll look at how to answer the tricky question. What is your greatest weakness? This question can feel uncomfortable, but it's actually a great opportunity to show self-awareness, honesty, and a growth mindset. The key is to mention a real weakness, but one that doesn't hurt your chances, and explain how you're working to improve it. Let's listen to a strong sample answer.
What would you say is your greatest weakness?
I'd say my biggest weakness is that I can be a bit of a perfectionist. I sometimes spend too much time making sure every small detail is just right, which can affect how quickly I finish tasks. But I've been working on this by setting clear time limits for each task and focusing more on results than perfection. I've also learned to ask for feedback earlier in the process, so I don't overwork something that's already good enough. It's still something I'm improving, but I've made a lot of progress over the past year.
Explanation. Let's break this answer down. The candidate starts by honestly naming a common weakness: perfectionism. This is something many people can relate to, and it's not a red flag unless it's extreme. Then she shows how she's managing it, using time limits, focusing on results, and getting early feedback. That shows responsibility, self-improvement, and emotional intelligence. She doesn't try to pretend she's perfect. She's honest but constructive. That's exactly what interviewers want to hear. Key phrases you can use. I'd say my biggest weakness is, I've been working on this by. It's something I'm still improving, but I've made a lot of progress over the past year. What to avoid? Don't say I have no weaknesses. Don't choose a weakness that's critical to the job. Don't make it sound like you're not trying to improve. Wrap up. When asked about your greatest weakness, focus on honesty and growth. Be real, be responsible, and show the interviewer that you're always learning. That's all for today's episode of the Cool English Podcast. In our next episode, we'll talk about another important question. Why should we hire you? Thanks for tuning in. Keep practicing and remember, confidence comes from preparation.